this video, we are going to discuss about NMR instrumentation. Before studying about this instrumentation, we have to have the idea about principle of NMR spectroscopy. In the previous video, I have clearly explained about the principle of NMR spectroscopy. Please do watch it. I'll place the link of that video in the description. Now, let us have some idea about this principle of NMR. See here, consider it as an atom. Here in the atom, in the nucleus, we will have protons plus neutrons. It is called as nucleus. This atomic nuclei will have a property which is called as spin. That means here nuclei will behave as if they are spinning. They behave like a spinning bar magnets. And here this spinning generates a magnetic field. Whenever the external magnetic field is absent, the nuclear spins will be in the random direction and they will have equal energies. See here, these are the nuclei which are spinning. That means they are behaving like a spinning bar magnets. Here, without external magnetic field, they are in the random direction as you can see here, and they are having equal energies. That means no energy difference is present in these nuclei. But after the application of external magnetic field, some nuclei will orient or align themselves to the direction of applied magnetic field. Here you can see the direction of external magnetic field. Here is the north position and here is the south position. You can here see these nuclei which are oriented along the direction of external magnetic field. Here is the north position and here is the south position. Compare these two, they are in the same direction. So when the external magnetic field is applied, if the nuclei align themselves to the direction of applied magnetic field, then that state is called as alpha spin state and it is lower energy state and it is a stable state. And now, next, we will pass radio frequency. Then some of the nuclei will show the spin change. That means they align themselves opposite to the applied magnetic field. As you can see in the beta spin state, here is the south position and is the north position. Here compare these two, they are opposite to each other. This is called as beta spin state and it is higher energy state and it is unstable. Now important thing in the NMR spectroscopy occurs, that is nothing but resonance. Here the important thing is resonance. So when this resonance occurs means when the frequency of magnetic field of incoming radio waves and the frequency of magnetic field generated by the nucleus matches, then the two fields will couple and it will give resonance. That means occurrence of beta state. We can also call it as spliffing of nuclei. It occurs when the frequency of magnetic field of incoming radio waves matches the frequency of magnetic field generated by the nucleus. We know that incoming radio waves have the magnetic field and also nucleus will also generate magnetic field. When these two frequencies matches, then only resonance occurs, then only beta state will occur. Then the spliffing of nuclei will takes place. So when the nuclei will excite from alpha state to beta spin state, as we know that beta spin state is unstable, it can't stay for a long time in the beta spin state. Then the nuclei which are in the beta spin state will return to their original state via several pathways and release the absorbed energy as heat. And this emitted radio frequency signal will give us the NMR spectrum of the nucleus. This is the funda behind NMR spectroscopy principle. Now let us study about the NMR instrumentation. Here in this diagram you can see the instrumentation of NMR. Now we will study about this instrumentation very clearly. Here let us see the components of NMR spectrometer. Here it consists of magnet, field sweep generator, radio frequency transmitter, and a signal detector, sample holder, and a probe recorder. These are the components which are required in the NMR spectrometer. See here, as you can see in this instrumentation, here is the sample holder, that is sample tube, which holds the sample, and these are the magnets. Here is a magnet and here is a magnet. These magnets are very important in the NMR spectroscopy. So in between these two magnets a sample holder is placed, and here is the radio frequency transmitter which transmits the radio frequency, and you can see here it is a sweep generator, and here the sweep coils are placed, and coming to this side, here is a radio frequency receiver and detector, and here is a recorder. So let's study about these components very clearly. First, coming to the magnets. Here first point is the accuracy and quality of an NMR instrument depends upon the strength of a magnet. Here these magnets are very important. You have to keep it in mind that resolution will increase when the magnetic field strength is more. That means we will get the correct spectrum, that means correct resolution spectrum when the magnetic field strength is more. Next, magnet must be strong, stable, and produce a homogeneous field. Here the magnets which we will use must be strong, stable, and they should produce a homogeneous field. That means they should not vary in strength or direction from point to point. And next, the magnetic strength ranges from 60 MHz to 700 MHz and higher. Magnets may be conventional, permanent, or electromagnets, and they can be superconducting solenoid. And the requirement of good thermostat is needed as the magnets are temperature sensitive. So to maintain the temperature, thermostats are required as the magnets are temperature sensitive. As we have seen in the principle that here the nuclei are present in the sample, and this nuclei will behave as if they are spinning, and they will behave as if they are spinning bar magnets. So when the external magnetic field is applied, the nuclei which are present in the sample will align themselves in the direction of applied magnetic field, that is applied external magnetic field. Then the alpha state will occur. Then what we will do, we will pass radio frequency, then we will bring the nuclei into resonance. You can call the nuclei as proton also. So in order to generate radio frequency radiation, we will use radio frequency oscillator, and to achieve the maximum interaction of the RF radiations with the sample, the coil of oscillator would be around the sample container. Here as you can see, it is the radio frequency transmitter which transfers the radio waves. So here to achieve the maximum interaction, here the coil of the oscillator is placed around this sample container, as you can observe this. Why? Because to achieve the maximum interaction. So this oscillator will irradiate the sample with RF radiations. Now you can see that we have placed magnets and we have also passed radio frequency transmitter. Now we have to bring the nuclei into resonance. How this happens means, this happens by the use of sweep generator. To bring the nucleus into resonance, here sweep generators are used. That means to excite the nucleus to the beta spin state, this sweep generator is used. So let's study it now. Sweep generator may be frequency sweep generator, that means frequency sweep method is used, and field sweep method is also used. I have said that sweep generator used to bring the nucleus to resonance, that means to carry the nucleus to beta spin state. When the resonance will occur, when the frequency of precessing nucleus, that means spinning nucleus, is equals to frequency of applied RF radiations, then the resonance will occur. When these two fields will couple, then only resonance will occur and the nuclei will go to the beta spin state. So, to bring the nucleus to resonance, we will use frequency sweep method or field sweep method. So, let's study about the frequency sweep method first. Here, this method is used to resonate the nucleus. We already know that. The frequency of RF radiation is changed so that it becomes equal to the resonance frequency or precision frequency. Here in the frequency sweep method, applied magnetic field is kept constant and the frequency of RF radiation is changed. So, when this RF radiation is changed, at some point, frequency of this RF radiation and the frequency of spinning nucleus will become equal. Then the resonance will occur. Then the nuclei will spin to beta state. You have to remember that in the frequency sweep method, RF radiations is changed while the applied magnetic field is kept constant. At some point, when the RF radiation and the nucleus frequency becomes equal, then only resonance will occur. The second method is field sweep method. So, this method is exactly opposite to that of the frequency sweep method. Here in the field sweep method, here also we are doing this method to resonate the nucleus only, to bring the nucleus to resonance. Here, frequency of RF radiation is kept constant while the applied magnetic field is changed. So, when the applied magnetic field, frequency and the precessing nucleus frequency becomes equal, then the nucleus will come into resonance. Remember that in the frequency sweep method, radiation is changed, while in the field sweep method, applied magnetic field is changed, while RF radiation is kept constant. Why this sweep generator is used means to bring the nucleus to resonance. Here, as you can see, here is the sample holder and here is the magnets. Here is the radio frequency, and to bring the nucleus to the resonance, we are using sweep generator. Here are the sweep coils which are placed here and here. When the nucleus excites and go to the beta spin state, then the resonance will occur while returning from the beta spin state. Why? Because it is a less stable state. It can't stay longer in the beta spin state, while the nuclei which is returning from the beta spin state to the lower energy state, that is alpha energy state, alpha spin state, then the information is obtained about the sample. Now let us study about this sample holder and probe. Here the sample holder in NMR is normally tube shaped and therefore it is called as sample tube, and the tube must be transparent to RF radiations, durable and chemically inert. It must be transparent to pass the RF radiation through themselves. Here glass or Pyrex tubes are commonly used. They are sturdy, practical and cheap. That means they are well built, practical and cheap. They are usually about 6 to 7 inch long and equals to 1/8 in diameter with a plastic cap. You have to remember this. That means the sample tube is 6 to 7 inches long and approximately equals to 1/8 in diameter, which is having a plastic cap. So, this is about the sample holder. Now coming to the probe. Here the sample chamber into which the sample holder is placed is called as a probe. Here in this probe, the sample holder will be placed and it contains an air turbine to spin the sample holder. This probe will contain an turbine which spins the sample holder, and it is used to excite and detect the magnetization in radio frequency of a sample. So for maximum sensitivity, a fixed frequency probe is used. That is, a separate probe is required for each nucleus like 1H, 13C and 19F. For a different nucleus, different probe is needed for the maximum sensitivity. This is about the sample holder and a probe. This is the special chamber in which the sample holder is placed. It is called as probe. Now we have studied about the magnets, sample, sweep coils, sweep generator and radio frequency transmitter. Now the remaining thing is radio frequency receiver and detector and a recorder. Here coming to the radio frequency receiver and detector. Here the radio receiver coil which detects the radio frequency. The receiver coil will detect the radio frequencies. When will it detect means when the nuclei will relax to lower energy level, then the radio frequency are detected by the receiver. So here is the alpha spin state and here is the beta spin state. While returning from beta spin state to alpha spin state, the radio receiver coil will detect the radio frequencies. And coming to the second point, the radio frequency signal produced by resonating nuclei is detected by means of coil that surrounds the sample. The radio frequency signal which is produced by the resonating nuclei is detected by the means of coil that surrounds the sample. And here the receiver is used to amplify the NMR signal and detector is used to convert the NMR signal into the form which can be stored in the computer memory. These 2 points are very important. Here the receiver will amplify the NMR signal and the detector will convert the NMR signals into the form which can be stored by the computer memory. Now coming to the recorder. So here while returning from beta spin state to alpha spin state, the signal is sent to radio frequency receiver and detector. Now the job of receiver and detector is done. Now coming to the recorder. Here in recording NMR spectra, the sample is placed within the pole gap at the point of magnetic field and subjected to radio frequency alternating magnetic field H0 and detector to convert NMR signal in the form which can be stored in computer memory, and computer analyzes and records the data. So as you can see here the sample is placed within the pole gap placed at the point of magnetic field and it is subjected to radio frequency, and these signals are sent to radio frequency receiver and detector, and this detector will convert the NMR signal into the form which can be stored in computer memory, and the computer analyzes and records the data in the form of NMR spectrum. So in the recorder, the computer analyzes and records the data. So here in the recorder, after the computer analysis, and it gives the result in the form of NMR spectrum. This is about the NMR instrumentation. I hope you got the idea about NMR instrumentation. Thank you for watching.